From the Pep Radio newsroom, here are the stories we are covering at this hour. In our top story, the San Francisco Chronicle is reporting that Arizona's ban on transgender athletes has been blocked by the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which called the law the essence of discrimination. Supporters of the so-called Save Women's Sports Act claim that the law protected girls and women in schools and colleges from unfair competition. However, the federal court found that prepubescent trans girls and trans girls who are on puberty blockers have no significant physical advantages over cis girls their own age. In the court's 3-0 decision, Judge Morgan Crisson wrote that, quote, the law to ensure competitive fairness and equal athletic opportunities for cisgender female athletes cannot be squared with the fact that the act bars students from female athletics based entirely on transgender status. She went on to say, the law permits all students other than transgender women and girls to play on teams consistent with their gender identities, Crisson continued. Transgender women and girls alone are barred from doing so. This is the essence of discrimination. Two trans girls, an 11-year-old soccer player and a 15-year-old swimmer and volleyball player on puberty blockers, sued to overturn the law. 18 states signed court arguments in favor of the law, and 17 states signed arguments against it. A lower federal court also ruled against the law, and the two courts' rulings against it can now be cited as a legal precedent to help other trans girls play sports. However, Arizona could also appeal the decision to be heard by an 11-judge panel on the appeals court, or they could ask the U.S. Supreme Court to rule on the matter. In campaign news, out Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is blasting former President Donald Trump's policies and his mental fitness after his recent incoherent rant about lowering childcare costs. During Sunday's installment of CNN's State of the Union with Dana Bash, Secretary Buttigieg said, quote, when Donald Trump was asked about childcare the other day, it wasn't clear whether he even understood the question. In Trump's incoherent 2-minute response delivered at the Economic Club of New York last Thursday, he said he would raise tariffs on international goods entering the United States. He didn't say how the revenue from the tariffs would help lower child care costs. Numerous economic experts have since noted that tariffs usually raise the cost of everyday items, essentially forcing U.S. citizens to pay for them. Even the female club board member who asked Trump the question, Reshma Saujani, said his response showed that he's not fit to be president. On CNN, Buttigieg said that the Democratic presidential nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris, has a plan for expanding the child tax credit, making sure that we have paid family leave in this country, two things we would have right now if Republicans weren't blocking them. Harris has proposed giving a $6,000 child tax credit to parents of newborns. The proposal could aid middle-class families and help end childhood poverty for millions of kids. But it's unclear how Harris would pass such legislation, seeing as congressional Republicans have opposed such expansions, denying it their necessary votes. The current child tax credit gives parents $2,000 per eligible child. In Meadville area news, the Meadville Tribune is reporting that Meadville City Council members last week voted 4-1 to appoint Joe Tompkins to fill a vacant seat on the Meadville Housing Authority, which oversees public housing assistance programs in the city. Tompkins, a communication and media professor at Allegheny College, who also serves on the board of the Meadville Redevelopment Authority, fills a vacancy left by the death of Tom Youngblood in June. Councilman Jim Roja was the lone member not to vote in favor of Tompkins, but contended his vote should not be seen as a vote against him. He said, I will be voting for another candidate before the vote. He went on to say, I'm not voting against a candidate, I'm voting for someone. I'll be voting for Diane Bolharski, who works for Center for Family Services and has a unique skill set, superb credentials, and she has expressed enough interest to apply and be interviewed twice. When the vote for or against Tompkins' nomination was called and other members said aye in favor of appointing Tompkins, Roja responded, Diane Bolharski after his name was called, rather than the customary nay in such a situation, eliciting a giggle and smiles from other members. In the end, Roja's vote, whether against Tompkins or for Bolharski, had no impact on the outcome. That's the news at this hour. Now back to more music on Pep Radio.